coming up and down under EV Adventures. I take the Volvo and I head north for a beautiful holiday up the West Australian coast. Come join me. Welcome back to Down Under EV Adventures, everyone. Great to have you with me. And yep, here it is, my trip up the West Australian coast. I had a great time and I'm so happy to be sharing some of the places that I went to, and I hope you get to visit them someday as well. So we're really going to focus on some great places that you can visit and where you can charge your EV up the West Australian coast. Now the economy statistics I'll put on the screen regularly, and I just took them off what was on the dashboard. I didn't worry about calculating them at the chargers. Now feel free to go and skip ahead to which chapter interests you and which places you'd like to look at. And just before we get started, just want to say I always take a road atlas with me on these long trips for a variety of reasons. One, if the mobile network goes down, you've got a map to look at, and they often have bits and pieces that you can't find on the internet. Now day one, we're going to Merredin, 333 kilometers, 3.5 hours direct. Let's get into it. I'm packed up and ready to go. The car is at 90%. It's all ready to go. I've reset the trip meter. It's a very chilly morning here in Kalgoorlie, only 7 degrees. The one on the left is manual one, and I'm going to leave that for the whole trip to see how many kilometers I end up doing, and of course the economy. On the right's the automatic one, which resets every day, or like after 6 or 7 hours it will also reset. Okay, 50k is done. 24.3 at the moment, a little bit higher. It looks like we've got a little bit of a headwind though. Okay, so we're here at the Boorabin Memorial, which you also may have seen on the channel, which is a memorial for some truckies who died in a horrible bushfire many years ago now. My dog, Zoey, is hanging out for a walk. I thought this is a good place to stop. I'm going to have to stop every 100 to 150 k's anyway. And this memorial, it's like a parking place. You've got bins and some toilets there. And it's only about a few hundred meters to the memorial. So we'll go and have a look at it. We're just driving into Southern Cross, and that economy's dropped down to 23.6, which isn't bad considering we did have a little bit of a headwind. So I have been using the heated steering wheel, the heated seats, and I also had the heater on for a little while as well. And it's cold weather to top it all off, so I'm pretty happy with that. So after charging at Southern Cross, which I just went to 80%, we make our way the last 100 kilometers to Merredin. And so happy to get my trip underway overnight in Merredin. We're on to day 2, where I'm going to go to Gin Gin, which is roughly 3 hours away, via Northam, 262 kilometers. 90% ready to leave Merredin. Those were the stats yesterday. We ended up doing 364 kilometers. I'm fairly happy with that economy considering we did have a headwind. Anyway, it's time to head off. What do you think, Zoey? Should we go somewhere? Take that as a yes. Okay, we're in Northam and the economy is doing pretty good, 21 kilowatt hours for that leg. Let's get some electrons. That charger's cranking up a little bit, and here's Northam. I'm gonna go for a walk now. Okay, that's the stats for arriving in Gin Gin. I probably will go for a drive later, but just in case the automatic trip resets, these are the figures so far. Overall economy's dropped to 22.4. We've done 640.9 kilometers so far on the trip. So I'm at my accommodation in Gin Gin. It's an AirBNB, and We've got some cool Lego set up. Not sure if that's Lego or not, but this definitely is. And check out the other room. Millennium Falcon. That looks like a Star Destroyer. So somebody's a fan of Lego. Lamborghini Countach. That looks like the Ectomobile from Ghostbusters. I've just been into town and that's my kilometers for the day, 646.7, and that economy's been excellent today. And I'm going to be here for a couple of nights, and the owners very kindly let me charge, which is really good. So I did charge, as you know, in Northam, so I'm not too empty. I'm sitting on 69% at the moment, and I'm just going to charge up to 80, but that's really nice. I offered him some money, 20 bucks if I could charge the next couple of days here. So unfortunately, it is pouring with rain today. In fact, it's been raining all day. My plans to go out and do a few things around this area have come to naught. I just managed to get a quick walk in there with Zoe before it really started to come down. But looks like I'm going to have to have a day in. Maybe watch some Netflix or something. Okay, day 4, I'm heading north, hopefully into some finer weather. 377 kilometers. And I've just left my accommodation at Gin Gin. It was a great stay there. I'll put a link in the description for all the accommodation places on this trip. And as you can see, it's just spinning with rain. And now I'm going to go to the Chargers in Lancelin. Now I've heard that the ones in Geraldton might not be working, so I'm going to have to charge at Lancelin, which is only 100 kilometers away, and then I've got around about 300 kilometers I've got to go to get to Geraldton, which is my next stop for charging. So I'll see how I go with that. It's going to be probably my longest trip without charging at all, so I have to see if I want to go to 90% or 100%. When I get to Lancelin, I'll have to go ahead and work it out how many kilometers I can do. I've got to say, this is some of the worst rain I've driven in. So I've had to slow right down. It is bucketing down out there. So yeah, I'm just going to take it easy. So 27.4 at the moment. Very hilly stretch. Lots of rain. And quite cold. It's still only 6 degrees. We're heading in now to Lancelin. And all I can say is, what a shame that Geraldton, I think, is still closed. Because I've got a long leg I've got to do now, and I'm just going to have to keep a close eye on that economy. Let's go and find the Chargers. Oh, we've got a bakery right near the Chargers. Woohoo! Alright, so the final economy 27.01, 97.3 Ks. Okay, so the Chargers are cranking up, and as you can see, it's very, very wet. It's right next door to the Tesla Superchargers, and apart from this shocking economy this morning, the car's doing really good. So yeah, these Chargers are in a great spot. I'm going to go and check out the bakery now. The dog's going to have to stay in the car. Look at it, it's slowly cranking up the speed. 78 kilowatts at the moment. Well, I'm going to get out of this rain. There's some public toilets too, just opposite the bakery. So in a nice park here. I'm going to go to 100% because I don't think, unfortunately, that Geraldton is open. I'm going to check anyway. I'm going to work it out, but I think it's just over 300 kilometers to Geraldton. I'm going to be stuck here for a little while charging. Just bought myself a lovely vegetable pasty, which I'm going to enjoy and maybe share a little bit with this little cute dog here. And the rain has stopped, and we can see a little bit of sun coming out. So That's nice. I think we might just go for a little walk now. It's actually quite pleasant, apart from being very chilly. There's still a bit of rain, but oh, that sun is beautiful. And it's a nice park here. It's a bit flooded from the rain. And the rain's back, so I'm back in the car, and my goodness, it's chilly this morning. Still 7 degrees. So I'm just sitting here, I've got the heater on, the heated seats on, and the tips of my fingers are cold as well. So I've got the heated steering wheel on. I'm a bit of a wimp this morning. Leaving Lancelin now, so yeah, let's just take it easy. I've worked out I need to be around about 67% by the time I get to Geraldton. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the trip meter on the left, because I really want to keep a close eye on this economy. So 774.2 you can see we've done, and that's the reading which I'll have to add on. So I'm cruising along at 95 now, which is about 93, 94. And I'm pleased to say the economy is a lot better, around about that 23 kilowatt hours per 100. Range is still showing 280, so if Geraldton is not open, at least I'll be able to make Geraldton not an issue. And as you can see, it's 7 degrees outside still, so pretty cold still. Lots of rain. Normally this would be a lovely drive with the ocean there. There's a few lookouts on the way, but it's just absolutely miserable weather. We're now cruising on 100. And the economy is beautiful now, and as you can see, the overall economy today on the right hand side is also falling now as well. Still raining, but it looks like it might be starting to fine up. Now that I'm not as worried about the economy, I'm going to make a little side trip here to Cervantes and show you something really interesting which I've been to just once before. So this is worth a little detour. It's called Lake Thetis, and we're going to see the Stramatolites. Now this area is part of the Billabong National Park, which has the famous pinnacles, which I'm not going to see this time because I've seen them a couple of times. And it's a nice little walk you can do. Because it's part of the national park, there's no dogs allowed, so I've had to leave Zoe in the car, all wrapped up snug and warm, and we'll go and check out this lake, see if we can see these Stramatolites. So this is a great walk to stretch your legs. Let's go and have a look. So these weird dome shaped things, they're Stramatolites. They're built by different types of cyanobacteria. Then they bind calcium carbonate onto it. And that's what a Stramatolite is, a weird sort of cyanobacteria. I'll see if I can see one in the water. I don't know how well you can see that. Might put the drone up and you might see them a bit better from an overhead shot. Oh, there you go, you can see that a little bit better now. I can see it's coming out on the camera. Those dark shapes. In addition to the Stramatolites, there's the boardwalk you can do, and there's a lot of birds I noticed around the area as well, which is quite interesting to see. So a great way to kill half an hour and get a bit of exercise in. So the chargers were out. I did try calling Charge Fox and they told me that there was no way to communicate with them. So I'm just going to have to go on to Geraldton. Let's check out the economy. So 22.8, starting to build up a nice buffer. The range there is saying 190. It's 150 roughly to the Charge Fox Chargers. It's saying I have 12% on arrival, so looks like I'm going to romp it in. I'm starting to enjoy the scenery now that the sun's come out a bit more. I think Zoe's enjoying the scenery too, aren't you, Zoe? She's hanging out for a walk again, so we might have to stop somewhere up here. And we've arrived at Geraldton. That's the final figures. So on the left is from Geraldton, and on the right is from my accommodation in Gin Gin. Okay, I've plugged in, and let's have a look at that charging. Oh, it's cranking up nicely. I should get a good charging rate here. And there's 4 chargers here. There's a Tesla plugged in over there. I wasn't sure if we had to share the power here, so I thought if I park over here and use this one on my own, I might get a better rate. So yeah, whoa, look at that crank up. So more than 120 at the moment, but I am at a pretty low state of charge, as you can see there. And these chargers are in a great location. Let's have a look at the Foreshore area. Alright, I've charged to 82% for what that's worth. And now onto my accommodation, which is actually 40 kilometers away. So I'm staying in the Chapman Valley in a little place called Nabawa or Nabawa. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. And it's a lovely place to stay. Nice and green there in the valley. And I spend days 5 and 6 exploring, and some of the attractions I saw were the leaning tree, which is this cool species of eucalyptus which can still grow even after it's been blown over almost on the side. It's got very flexible branches, so that's really quite interesting. That's around the Greenough area. There's also the Horizon sculpture, which is this pretty cool sculpture on the foreshore there. That's worth having a look at. It's pretty interesting. There's also the lookout, Mills Lookout it's called, which is at the beginning of the Chapman Valley. I did a short on that. You might have already seen it on the channel. Spectacular at the moment with the green fields and crops and so on. Just looks lovely. Very, very nice area to stay. Alright, now we're on to day 7 and we're leaving to go to Kalbarri. Very short drive, an hour and a half. Okay, we're leaving Nabawa and we're on our way to Kalbarri, which is our next stop. And on the way we're going to go and have a look at Hutt Lagoon. Now check this out, the amazing pink lake.
You shine so bright in your blue suede shoes. I don't got no real estate and nobody knows my name. I could find a place and see it all a different way. Slow down, you got what you need, and the world's at your feet.
Alright, arrival in Kalbarri, those are the stats. So those Kalbarri Chargers are in a great location near the visitor centre, and also just a very short walk from the Murchison River. I mean, you can even walk into town and see some shops if you want to, so great location there for charging. Now Kalbarri is certainly a highlight of my trip. So there was Red Bluff Lookout, which I went and had a look at. I saw a couple of emus, which was always interesting to see. And there's all these great places you can go along the coast there. So this is Kalbarri Pink Beach. Let's have a look at this attraction here. And here we are at one of the many coastal attractions near Kalbarri. This one's called Eagle Gorge.
It's okay, waste your time. I don't mind.
It was hard to pick a favourite attraction there in Kalbarri, but one of them was definitely Rainbow Valley, which is a nice walk you can do along, and they've got these beautiful rocks which look fantastic in the late afternoon, and they really bring out all the colours. Anyway, on to day 9 now, where we're going to start heading further north, our longest leg yet, up to Carnarvon, 442 kilometres. And we are leaving Kalbarri, and it's a beautiful morning. We're going to go to Billabong Roadhouse and that's going to be my major charging stop before heading to Carnarvon. If there's any issues with Billabong, there's another roadhouse about 60 k's further north called Overlander, which you could also charge at. And it works. So I'm at the Billabong Roadhouse, part of the WA EV network, and this one is only a maximum of 50 kilowatts, and I believe it is shared when there's another person, but at the moment there is no other person, so it's cranking up very slowly, you can see there. But anyway, if you want to know where it is, so that is the homestead where you can have meals. There's accommodation there, and the actual roadhouse where you can fill up if you've got a petrol car, and there's obviously a shop there, is just there. So I noticed these ones are under some shade, probably because it gets very hot here for a lot of the year. So quite a nice little spot. No one else at the moment charging here. And I believe they also, yes, they do have the old credit card thing and an AC charger as well. Well, I don't know what that speed you get at this one. So yeah, good that they've got these chargers here. Quite a remote charger. One of the most remote ones I've been to, actually. So we're getting 40 kilowatts, so I'm fairly happy with that. Oh, 1050. Oh, well, we'll see how we go. And now we're leaving Billabong. And those are the stats. We've arrived at Overland. I'm just going to put maybe 5-10% in here. So this is the Overlander Chargers, and I note that there was no internet here, no mobile signal, so I had to use the credit card one, which is the first time I've had to use that. And I believe these are capped at 50 kilowatts as well. So nobody else here, so it's cranking up. I'm only going to put a few percent here. Might just have a look around. Right, 84%, just a very quick stop there, and now on to Carnarvon. I've just arrived at my accommodation in Carnarvon. That was the final trip today. Wow, another 462 k's I've done. Not particularly brilliant. The economy wasn't too bad, 23.6. Overall, 22.3. 9 to 12 in Carnarvon for this first leg, so the harbour there was a nice spot. the wonderful OTC satellite dish, which was, quite an important part in the moon landing in Western Australia. They helped out, and it's right next door to the Carnarvon Space Museum, which I gotta say is a wonderful place. If you've got any interest at all in space or technology or the moon landings, I think you'll really love this place. It's well worth a visit. And also they have, of course, the plantations there, so you can get fresh produce and have a look. There's also cafes you can visit. There's this great bridge which goes over the Gascoyne River, which is normally dry for most of the year. It does flow occasionally, and there are parts of the river actually where there's still water for some of the year. So you can have a look here. It's great to drive over that, but yeah, you can see there's still some permanent water on the river as well. And also the 1 Mile Jetty precinct is another great place to go and visit. So the famous 1 Mile Jetty, which is sadly deteriorating a bit, so go and see it before it's gone. And just out of interest, we stayed here at the Discovery Caravan Park. That was in a cabin, and like I said, I will put links to all this accommodation that I stayed at if you're interested. Now earlier on I touched upon the economy, so I did reset the trip meter, so 1254 kilometers, and I had 770 before. So actually for the total trip I did 2028.7 at an average of 22.7, which I was pretty happy with. That was before I went to, or just as I arrived in Carnarvon, and those were the figures after I left Carnarvon. So I did actually do another further 195.3 kilometers driving around Carnarvon, and my economy actually fell a little bit too, so overall was 22 kilowatt hours per 100, so pretty stoked with all of that. Now you saw some of the attractions on my visit, but I just really scratched the surface. I visited so many, and they're too many to really mention. It's beyond the scope of just one episode, otherwise this episode would be 2 hours long. Anyway, that concludes the first part of my trip going up the coast to Carnarvon. I will have to come back and show you the trip back down, where I also visited some great places as well, but that's for another day. But that's it for this part of the trip. I hope you really enjoyed it. Thanks for sticking around, really appreciate it, and there's great content coming up. So thank you very much. We'll see you with more on Down Under EV Adventures. And as always, take good care out there. We'll see you very soon. Bye for now.